Hi friends, welcome to my first reading vlog in, I think it's like 4 months or something like that. It's been a while since I made one, and this weekend I am doing like a little reading challenge. I kind of put out a call for those that wanted to join me this weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we are going to be doing like a page count reading challenge of sorts. Pretty much I have 3 books left on my TBR that I need to get done / want to get done. There's really no need. I want to get them done this weekend, and so I thought, hey, I'll put it out on my community tab on YouTube, which I know some people struggle to find or whatever. So if you're on your phone and you go to your subscriptions, the stuff that people put on their community tab shows up through there. Or I think you can do this on the phone. You can at least do this on a computer, where you go to like the main page of someone's channel, and on the top border there is a community tab option there. Anyway, I just let people know that this is what I was doing and people were welcome to join. So I have 3 main books, like I said, that I want to get through. Thankfully this is not exactly one of them. What I started listening to this morning is Edge Dancer, which is one of the books in here. I think it's the last one. Where is it? Yes. Okay, so according to my audiobook, I think I said it was like 5 hours and 5 minutes real time. I was listening to it at like 1.5 speed for the first bit. Now I've bumped it up to 2 times speed. So I listened to it, well, so there's like, I think it's like 150 pages or so in this book. I had to drive to the city today, and I have quite a few drives to and from the city this weekend because of foster care situations, which, because of the situation and how it is, I thought I would have lots of time to read this weekend, which I thought was perfect for this reading challenge. And of course, things have changed, like always. I've gotten more phone calls from social workers in the last 2 or 3 days than I have like from people in general in the last like 6 months. So that's fun. Anyway, so I'm going to be reading Edge Dancer. That will be my audiobook. I'm also actually, if I get Edge Dancer done, I am listening to Gospel Fluency by Jeff Vanderstelt. I think I'm almost done. And then there are 2 other books. So I have, I took my book along with me today because I thought maybe I'd have time to read. No. Oh, that is how this week has gone. I'm reading The Bones Will Speak by Carrie Stewart Parks. And originally when I put out this challenge, I hadn't started it, so I thought I would read the entire thing this weekend. It turns out I'm on page 196 out of like 320-ish. So I'm farther than I thought. So I have less pages to read than I originally thought. This is book 2 in her Gwen Marcy series. She is like a forensic artist of some sort. Carrie Stewart Parks, I think, actually is or was one, and so like all of her characters seem to have that as a major trait, which is interesting. It's a different side of kind of like the crime scene than I've ever read before, other than with her. So far this book has been very interesting. I didn't really like our main character in the first book. She still really bothers me in this book. She's just kind of really whiny and kind of stupid. She makes some very poor decisions, I feel like. And then her 15-year-old daughter as well is like 15 to the hilt, and it just terrifies me. I really don't want to have a stereotypical teenager when my daughter is older. And yeah, so the characters I kind of don't like in this book, but I'm really enjoying like the mystery suspense part of it. I've been reading this the last couple of days, 2 days I think, and then in the evening it gets to the point where I'm like, I'm gonna get out a different book now because it's dark and this book's creeping me out. So I will show you a little later what that book is because it's amazing and I'm loving it. Okay, so anyway, I've got like 140-ish pages of this left maybe. And then I am also reading Terry Blackstock's Last Light. So a lot of people told me that when I start this book, I need to have the rest of the series ready to go. I think this is a post-apocalyptic book of some sort. Something happens. And it just so happened my library had the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th books, so I got those out. And I might share a little bit of a library haul later because I got a couple other books as well. So if this goes well and I want to continue the series and I have time this weekend, yeah, I might. So this is the start where I'm starting things off, and we'll see where they go from there. So this evening, if this is getting a little too creepy, I might even finish this afternoon. Then I'll pick up my other book that I will share about later. I don't really want to read these two books at the same time because I feel like they probably have just similar vibes in a way that I don't really want to read two very similar books or a little bit similar books at the same time. So now I'm gonna go find a comfy spot on the couch and make some hot chocolate. It's been a hot cocoa kind of week. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna cozy up and start. Okay, I'm doing really well so far. I finished The Bones Will Speak. There wasn't a ton left of this, and it kind of continued how it started. I really enjoyed the story. Still really did not like our main character, did not like her daughter. Actually, I liked her daughter more at the end than I did through most of the book. So this is book 2 out of 4 in the series. Fully plan on continuing the series at some point. I'm not even sure if it's on my TBR cart or... Once again, the baby was on here. No, I don't think it is. It must just be in my general books. So, I don't know. I might pick that up sometime in September if I want to. The next one, I don't know the title of it. I have Portrait of Vengeance and When Death Draws Near. I think those are both part of the series, so I'm not sure which one. And then as far as Edge Dancer goes, I am enjoying it. So like we follow a girl that was part of an interlude in the second book. I always forget the names. There's The Way of Kings, The Words of Radiance. Her name is Lift, and yeah, so I don't know how far I am. Maybe an hour and a half real time into the audiobook, but I'm listening to it on half time, so maybe I've listened to like 45 minutes. I don't know, it's all too confusing. It's an interesting look at the world from this point of view. I don't know really how this is all going to tie in or whatever, but I mean, I kind of know because it's kind of obvious, but at the same time I don't really know. So enjoying that. Kind of a different spin on the, what's the series called? The Stormlight world. And then the book that I said that I'm really excited about is actually on my September TBR. It's not September yet, but I started it early because the other day when this was getting a little too heavy, I was like, okay, I need something light and fun and just like heartwarming. And do you know what I picked up? I picked up Anne of the Island, and I read 2 chapters that first night and already like tabbed a couple things, and I'm enjoying this so much. I even have a couple quotes in here like, "Everything is changing, or going to change," said Diana sadly. "I have a feeling that things will never be the same again, Anne." "We have come to a parting of the ways, I suppose," said Anne thoughtfully. "We had to come to it. Do you think, Diana, that being grown up is really as nice as we used to imagine it would be when we were children? I love that. And then there was this part that made me laugh out loud. So Davy is, I think, an 8-year-old boy here, and Anne comes across him crying because his sister fell down the cellar. And he says, I ain't crying because Dora fell down the cellar. I'm crying because I wasn't there to see her fall. I always miss some fun or other, seems to me. It's like, what a typical 8-year-old brother. And then Anne's asking, like, would you call it fun to see her hurt or whatever? And he says, she wasn't much hurt. Of course, if she'd been killed, I'd have been real sorry, Anne. So, I just love L.M. Montgomery's writing. It's so interesting having read some of her personal history and how much she struggled, because that does not come through in her writing at all. Her stories are so heartwarming. I am so excited. Most of you have said, that have commented, pretty much say that Anne of the Island is like definitely either the best or one of the best. So I'm excited to be reading this one, but at the same time I'm going to be sad when it's over because, you know, having finished what is probably the best gives you a little bit sad feelings, I guess. But this is definitely going to be one that I reread. Like the first, I don't know if I would reread the first book a ton, but the second book I loved, and the third book so far, I mean, yeah, like a whole 20 pages in that I am. So obviously this is more of my priority, and the other book on my TBR, Last Light, which I will probably start Last Light tonight, and then if it gets kind of dark, then I'm picking up some Anne. So I didn't get a ton of reading done last night. I totally forgot that my church was doing a how to read our Bibles seminar, and Jared got to go to that in person, and I stayed home with the littles, so I had it on, but I kind of like missed the first hour and 15 minutes, you know, between like bedtime stuff. But then I caught the last hour and a half, and it was so good. I was taking lots of notes, and I really enjoyed the last half that I got to hear and what I heard from the first half, but it was definitely a little chaotic here. So I will go back and rewatch that first half yet. I'll leave it linked below if anyone's interested. Kind of speaking of reading our Bibles, starting September 1st, I am doing a read through of the Gospels. I talked about this over on my main channel, kind of like announced that I'm going to be reading through the Gospels in a variety of different like translations for the next few months, and I've got a bunch of people joining me. So I'll also leave that linked below so you can find out the details and join us if you are interested. So last night I started Last Light. I think even Night Light is one of them. So Last Light, last night. Yeah, I didn't get enough sleep last night. Yeah, I got to page 9, so not very far at all. But I really appreciate that this story And I think this is kind of like a Terry Blackstock thing. You just hit the ground running. Like I kind of, well, this version also, this edition has a Dear Reader where she talks about kind of like, I think this is like maybe the 10-year anniversary of this book. And so you kind of, I feel like it's a little bit spoilery, or I was worried that it was, but things start happening right in the first chapter. Planes go down and like there's no phones work, no electricity, no vehicles run, nothing like that. So I can tell that there's going to be a lot of action, and also because I enjoy Terry Blackstock. This one follows a family to my knowledge, so I'm curious to know if, it doesn't actually say on the back. Often Terry Blackstock's books are like fairly heavy on the mystery suspense side and have some romance. Normally hers are more heavy on the mystery suspense. There have been a few that are like heavier on the romance, which I'm not a fan of, but I'm curious to know if there's going to be a romance in this thing at all. So when I was reading her Dear Reader here at the beginning, she was talking about Y2K and when, you know, my bangs really drive me nuts, when they thought the computers were going to crash and kind of like the end of the world because things weren't going to work anymore. When it went from 1999 to 2000, for some reason, they had this whole idea. Anyway, I was kind of curious, like, what were you guys doing on New Year's Eve on 1999 to 2000? Curious. Funnily enough, I was babysitting, and I was babysitting for a couple different couples that they were having kind of like a party upstairs, and I was watching their kids downstairs, and one of those kids ended up marrying my brother, so that's kind of funny. So nothing very special. I would have been like 16, so, you know, I didn't do anything with friends, I just babysat. 16? I would have been 15, so no vehicle. Yeah. So I'll get going on this, and I haven't read anything else so far, but another book I'm reading right now is The Prodigal God, and I am 42 pages in. This is a really small book. It's 150 pages with like big margins, like big font. So it's a quick read, but this has been so good. This is one of the ones I have to read for a class I'm taking through my church, and I am really enjoying it. So it's the story of the prodigal son, but it has made this parable like completely come to life in a very different way for me. He talks about, you know, like how if you grew up in church and hearing this parable, it's the worldly son, the one that wants his inheritance, that is lost. But in reality, when Jesus was telling this story, I mean, there's both sons are lost. It's the younger one who went and spent all his money, and the older one who struggled a lot with like legalism, and I think I was highlighting so much this morning. I was talking about how the two basic ways people try to find happiness and fulfillment, which the boys each had one of these ways in the story, the way of moral conformity and the way of self-discovery. Yeah. And so the elder brother in the parable illustrates the way of moral conformity. The Pharisees of Jesus' day believed that while they were a people chosen by God, they could only maintain their place in his blessing and receive their final salvation through strict obedience to the Bible. And yeah, so really enjoying this book as well. So I thought I was going to be reading 3 books this weekend. It turns out I'm just going to be reading a ton. There's going to be a bunch of different books coming up. So I need to film a discussion or something, for maybe a rant for The Girl Behind the Red Rope right now, and then after that I hope to do some more reading. So this weekend reading challenge thing is going really well. I actually finished Edge Dancer, which, I mean, it's under 150 pages, so it's not really that huge of an accomplishment, but it's a Sanderson book, and right in the author's note right at the end, the postscript, he said his original plan was for this story to be 18,000 words, but it ended up being around 40,000. Ah, well, that just happens sometimes, particularly when you or me. Yes, Sanderson likes to write a lot. So I really enjoyed this book 2.5. It follows a girl named Lift who is, she's quite the character. She is like Spin on steroids, like Spin from Skyward. My stove top is on. I am like kind of like slowly boiling a fall smelling concoction, but it makes much noise, if you're wondering what the ticking is. Yeah, so it makes me excited to jump back into the Stormlight archive with book 3, which I don't think I'm doing in September. It might be October, but I'm looking forward to that. So then the only book that's left from my list is Last Light, which I read a bit. I'm on page 46. I should be able to get this done tomorrow, but we have a pretty busy day with church, which we are there at like 8 in the morning, and we have a church picnic for lunch, so I won't have as much time to read, maybe, but I should be able to get this done. And then I'm not sure if I want to read some of this tonight or some Anne of the Island, or maybe a little bit of both. We'll kind of see how the rest of the evening goes. Okay, it is Sunday, and today has not turned out like I had planned at all. I was supposed to bring one of our little foster kids to a visit today, and I had plans to like listen to an audiobook. The 2 times that I drove, it was gonna be like an hour and a half or 2 hours total, and that didn't happen. That got canceled, so I read a little bit this afternoon. I don't know, this has been quite the week, you guys. It has been probably one of the most stressful weeks of my entire life. And so originally my plan was to do this reading vlog. There was things supposed to be happening this weekend. It was supposed to be like fairly relaxing. I was gonna get lots of stuff done, and it didn't turn out like planned at all. So I still am thankful that I've made this reading vlog. I'm hoping like the in-between parts can be relaxing, because I just feel like I want to make something relaxing and beautiful, even if it feels like life is chaos, which makes me think of L.M. Montgomery, and like sometimes it bothers me that her works are so carefree and light and beautiful when I feel like she was struggling so much. Like I've struggled with that idea when she had so much going on in her life and was very depressed and all this, and then yet she made these pieces of art that are so very different than what was going on in her life. And I feel like I actually like wrapped my brain around that this weekend, and I was like, oh yeah, that was probably a bit of an outlet for her, for sure. And I feel like that's how this vlog is for me, except that here I am kind of like whining about my week, and she didn't really do that. But so anyway, it's been a week, and I don't know, I'm so glad that I have made this reading vlog, even just not for like the making something factor, but also like it made me read more than I would have, which made me relax more, which has lowered my anxiety and stress levels a lot, I think. So anyway, because I did finish Edge Dancer last night, then I started listening to Scarlet, which is book 2 in the Lunar Chronicles. I started listening to this I just did a little walk by myself before Jared watched the kids, and I those are kids, not a stampede of elephants. He watched the kids and I went on a walk just to kind of decompress a little bit. And I'm not very far. I don't know how far I am. Maybe 20 pages in or so. And I'm remembering a bit about the story from the last time I read it. And I'm remembering that I did not enjoy this story nearly as much as Cinder. Maybe my kids have turned into elephants. Sure sounds like it. Cinder, okay. Oh, I get so distracted. Right. So I feel like the fairy tale, I guess this is Little Red Riding Hood, which is not a fairy tale. What is it? There's no happily ever after. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Whatever that is, I feel like that original story is kind of getting in the way of the actual story. It feels like she's trying to make it follow that kind of in a way. Oh, I don't know. Not making any sense. I remember some of the stuff that happens later, and I remember not really enjoying this one so much, and maybe that will change. Probably won't read any more of this weekend. This is supposed to be a September read anyway. So this will be my audiobooks for those drives that I'm supposed to be having if I ever have them. And then I have been reading this. I am almost halfway, yeah, just about halfway done Last Light. And okay, so there was I think it was a TV show, maybe on Netflix, I don't know. I don't watch a ton of TV, but back in 2012, and I only know this because I looked it up, there was a TV show called Revolution, which was a very much an end of the world. I don't remember the details, and I don't know how far I actually watched, but I remember the world ending and there was no electricity and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like this just reminds me a lot of that. So yeah, so far, they lost all power and everything, their cars don't work. This was right off the bat. So planes were falling out of the sky, because engines shut down, and generators don't work, water's not working, because of the electricity needed. And so the world's obviously very different, and I know this book is a 4-book series, so obviously we're not very far yet, because I feel like they're just kind of she's laying the groundwork of these people. Sorry about the elephants upstairs. So I know things will develop and stuff, but so far the characters, which usually books are about characters for me, the characters are so whiny, and I get that she's probably going to, develop them, and we need to see where they started from so we can see where they end up and the big difference and all that, but they're really bothering me. So we have parents, and then their 22-year-old daughter, who is supposed to be moving off to start her career and get married and stuff, and then they've got a couple of 3 kids in the teenage section, and they just all bother me. They're all whiny, and yeah, I don't know. I trust Terry Blackstock and people that have enjoyed this book and series enough to keep going, but if this was an author I didn't really trust, I don't know how much I would push through, because like I said, it's really about the characters to me. But I can see the dad in this story, he's already growing, and so is the oldest son, so I can see some stuff happening. Yeah, so my plan is this evening, after the littles are in bed and they're not elephants anymore upstairs, to read some more. I don't know if I'll be able to get this book done. I totally thought I was starting the weekend out well, and I thought I would get it done, but I feel like there's a lot left here. So we'll see. This will be my goal, to finish this. It's 200 pages, a little over. So we'll see. We'll see how things go. And then I will probably check in again. We'll see how this evening goes.